All right, John, here's our next class, one that you recommended we do. Manhood skills is about pay and banking. Now, you know we've already talked some about money, but I didn't go into depth about pay and getting a job and getting a pay and money and all that kind of stuff. So, we're going to do that today, okay? First thing you need to know is when you get a job, full-time job is considered 40 hours a week, at least, okay?
2 days?
No, 40 hours
40.
is really, if you break it down, we're talking about 8 hours a day for 5 days a week. Now, a lot of jobs are Monday through Friday from like 9 to 6 or 8 to 5 or something like that. But some people work on weekends. It depends on what kind of job you got. But usually if it equals up to 8 hours a day for 40, which is 40 hours a week, that's what a typical pay is, okay? If you work less than 5 days a week, some people work 4 days a week, but they work 12 hours, so it equals up to almost 40 hours. So that's like nurses and stuff in hospitals. So that's considered full-time. But if you work less than the 40 hours, that's considered part-time. There's some people who work, like Gabby right now is working at a department store, and she doesn't work 40 hours. She says she doesn't work in more than 20. So that's considered part-time. Okay, so they make a lot less money. So when you work your 40 hours, you're going to, at the end of, usually a pay is like every 2 weeks. Okay? And so at the end of 2 weeks, you're going to get something that looks like this. This is a paycheck. See, as you see, this is a sample of one of Nash's paychecks once upon a time. And you can get a paycheck like this, and you can go to the bank and cash it and get the money for the pay that you got for the 2 weeks. And most places give you pay every 2 weeks. Some places give it every week. And like the Army, they basically pay you once a month. But most places pay you every 2 weeks. And so the money sounds like a lot of money, but there's a catch to it. Okay? Yeah, that's right. You know a little bit, huh? Because when let's say that you got paid, you thought you was going to get paid $5 for every hour, right? $5 an hour for 40 hours is 5 times 4 is what? $200, right? So you thinking, oh, I worked a whole week. I'm going to get $200. And then you get your paycheck, and it looks like this. This is a statement that shows how much money you really get and all the stuff they taking out. This is an example of one of Nashka's checks. This is called a pay stub. And it explains everything they did with your money. And you'll see here, the money she made and the money she takes home is a huge difference in money. Okay? So, you can see here, these are all the things that they take out. It's called deductions. They taking out FEGLI. They taking out OASDI. They taking out federal taxes, savings, Medicare, retirement, and state tax. After all that money, they take out about almost about 20 to 30% of the money that you made. So if you thought you were getting $400, guess how much you really getting? Probably about $300. So that's a lot. Yeah, that's not a lot when you really need that money. See, there's something called minimum wage. Minimum wage is the government tell you this is the least amount of money you can pay a person because you'll be cheating them if you pay less than that. Now look at me. Minimum wage is not enough money to live off of. Okay? If you make minimum wage, you cannot raise a family on minimum wage. So minimum wage now is about $7 or something like that. So you can't really live off of $7 an hour. You need a lot more than that, especially if you got a wife and kids, or a lot of times both people need to work.
Yeah, well, I only get $7 a week.
Okay, well, you have everything taken care of for you, so you don't really need any more than that. So this is what that statement looks like. This is a paycheck, and this is a pay. It's called a pay stub. Okay. So you got your money from working your job. So now the next thing do you remember what we talked about before? What you need to do with that money? How do you figure out what you do with that money? Do you remember? You got to make something called a what?
Budget. Bank account or something. Budget.
A budget. That's right. And this is what your budget is going to have on it. It's going to have things that you need and things that you want. Okay?
You don't need it.
Now before
you could rest, but you could rest anywhere.
No, that's rent.
Oh, rent.
Rent is when you pay for where you live. Now let's look at the things you gotta have and the things that it'd be nice to have and you kind of want to have them, but you don't have to have them. You won't die if you don't have these things. So the first thing you gotta have is somewhere to live. The first thing your money need to pay for is to have somewhere to live, and then you gotta pay for electricity, heat, water, food, a way to get around if that's the bus or whatever, and then some kind of emergency money, because there's always going to be emergencies, right? These are the things you got to pay for first. You don't pay for any of these.
What about shelter?
Until shelter is for rent. You don't pay for any of these. You don't spend money on any of these until you paid all of these first. You got to have somewhere to live. You got to have electricity. You got to be warm. You got to have water. You got to have food. You got to have a way to get around, whether it's a bus ticket or your car or whatever, and you gotta have the emergency money. And these are things that I know you want to have, but you don't have to have. Clothes,
I don't care about
because you got some clothes, you just keep wearing the same ones
out.
you got. Eating out, some people like that a lot. Okay, some people don't put your hand in the way. A car is something that's nice to have, but you don't have to have. You can catch the bus or walk. A cell phone, most people think you can't live without them nowadays.
That's a need.
No.
What if you get like a?
That's a
what
want.
if you get a flat tire?
That wasn't.
Highway?
That wasn't most of my life. There wasn't a cell phone, and we just survived just fine without one. So I know you think that's a need, but that's a want. On the highway, what we did was we walked to the nearest service station.
What the?
Yes. You do what you have to do when you're poor.
Bro, I'm not.
Next one is internet. It's nice to have internet, but you don't have to have it. Video games. I know you think you can't live without them, but you really can. We did. And the last one is pocket money.
Super poor.
Some people want to walk around with money in their pocket just to have it so they can buy whatever they see. Well, that's not a good idea, because if you have it in your pocket, you're likely to spend it. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is you're going to take your money and you're going to put it in the bank. You're not going to walk around with all that cash you just made. You're going to put it in the bank. And you're going to have something
What if
called
I put it in my mouth?
a checking account. Okay? And when you get a checking account, you're going to get checks. See, these are checks? Okay? This is an example of a check. And as you see here, it has our information on here. And then here will go the date that you're going to write the check for. And let's say you had to pay your rent with the check. You write what the name of the people you're paying the rent to, and then right here where it says $, that's where you put how much money you write in the check for.
$1 million.
Okay, you want us to do an example of one right quick?
Yeah.
Okay, hold that down for me. Hold that down.
One.
You can't do one. You're gonna waste my checks. All right. So today is what? Today is
Poopy caca.
June. Look, June
10.
10, 2018. And let's say we're paying rent to
No, write it for a church so we can use it.
No.
I don't want you wasting check.
It's just
Okay.
one check.
okay.
Consolidated chaplain's funds.
Consolidated Chaplains Fund. And let's say we're writing it for, let's say example, $20. Okay? So then we write out the word $20 here. Spell 20 for me.
Let him do it. Let him do it.
You want to do it? Write 20. All right, and then you got then you just, no, you don't have to write dollars because dollars is over here. So you just draw a line from here all the way to the $sign.
So that nobody could.
So nobody can put anything else in there. And then you write what it's for, and then you, oops, I dropped the pen. Then you just put right here,
Church.
the memo is giving. Because remember, part of your money is giving. And then you just, I sign my name here. Okay? And then I tear this off.
Looks like scribble sign.
I tear this off and I give it to him. And see, this is a copy of the check so I can remember where I wrote the check to.
Wait, how do you copy it?
How do I copy? It's already in here. It's a part of it. It's called a carbon copy. Okay? So then I'm gonna go in here. This is where you keep track of where you spent your money.
Let him do it.
So look right here. We look on here and we look at the account. What's this check number called? This is called a check number.
3546.
So you put 3546 right there. Go ahead and do that for me. 3546. 3546. And then you put the date 6/10. Okay. 18. All right, and then you put right here church.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then how much did we give the church?
$200.
$20. Put 20 right there. Okay. 0, 0. Small zeros.
Good job.
All right. So then I would take this and I would tear it off. And then I give it to the church. And this is just like money. Okay? Now.
You can give it next Sunday.
Now, a lot of times people don't use checks anymore. What they do is they use a debit card or a credit card. Now here's an example of a whole lot of... Please don't. These are actual real credit cards, okay? This one, I'm just showing you just to show you different types of credit card. This one says American Express, Visa, and then this is MasterCard. All of these are types of credit cards. Now, tell me which one of these is a credit card and which one of these is what you call a debit card. And do you know the difference? Which one says debit? Look at them all. Which one is a debit card?
That one.
There you go, because it says debit right there, right? Then the difference between a debit card and a credit card is a credit card is when you borrow money from the bank to use their money and you got to pay it back later. If you use a debit card, it's taking money out of your checking account. It's like writing a check. So it's like writing a check. So when I spend money with my debit card, I'm not using credit and borrowing money like I'm borrowing from a credit card. I'm taking money directly out my bank.
That's what I would do.
See, and that's better because then I don't have to pay anybody back because it's my money. And here, I owe them money. And plus, they not only am I owing them money, they're going to give me interest. And I owe them money plus the money I spent. Okay? So you don't really want to use a credit card if you can help it. So, that's kind of a little introductory of money, banking, and budget and all that kind of stuff.
Honestly,
did you have any other questions about anything? I just was trying to give you
more like a comment, but honestly, you do need a phone. What if you're in an emergency?
You do not need a phone. It's called things called pay phones, where you get a 50 cents and you put it in the machine and you call.
Bro, no one uses those anymore. I don't even think those are alive anymore.
If it's an emergency, you can use them. All right.
Those aren't even alive anymore.
Anyway,
those are so dead.
Do you have any more questions about pay and banking? Any questions?
No.
Nothing you can think of? All right. Well, I'll catch you next time, okay? Remember, don't loan people money. They become you don't become friends anymore when you loan them money because people don't like to pay you back. So don't ever do that, okay? All right. Talk to you later.